There's a stat that goes back as far as the Stanley Cup Finals have been in existence, and that's the fact that teams who are up 3+ goals at the end of the first period in the Stanley Cup Final are 37-0 all time. That was until last night. The Oilers were down and out. Their season was fading away second by second. With each goal that went by Stuart Skinner, hope left Edmonton. But Chris Knoblauch must have laid into them in the intermission, because when that puck dropped in the second period, we saw an entirely new Oilers team. They were faster, they were sharper, they were meaner, and every shift felt like a last stand. The comeback didn't happen all at once, but you could feel it brewing. One goal would turn into 2, and then 3, and then the pressure was completely mounted. The crowd was growing restless, and suddenly the Panthers, who had been in complete control for the first 20 minutes, were the ones scrambling. Then, fittingly, it ended in the most chaotic way imaginable. The Oilers didn't just tie the series, they rewrote history, and they might have just changed the entire trajectory of the Stanley Cup Final. The puck dropped and the Panthers were off and running, but for the first time this series, we did not see a goal early in the period, and that's mainly because of this man right here. Skinner got pulled last game after letting up 5, but he still got the nod. And this could be a very cherry-picked stat, but Stu is pretty good in Game 4s in his career. 6-0 with 2 shutouts, and early on he showed why, making some clutch saves. But the undisciplined play from last game carried over to this one as the Oilers were headed back to the penalty kill, and about halfway through it, Florida wins the draw to Tkachuk, who just walks in and rips it low blocker on Skinner.
Tkachuk scores! And it didn't take long. 5-on-3, Panthers have the lead.
3 guys in front of him and absolutely no side of the puck. Great play by Tkachuk to recognize that. 1-0 Cats. Then, after killing off the next penalty, the Oilers took yet another one for their 3rd penalty of the game. Florida showed off their quick passing yet again, but Reinhart fanned on it in the slot, got his 2nd attempt off, and Tkachuk was there on the doorstep to finish the leftovers. 2 power play goals, 2 Tkachuk goals, 2-0 Panthers. Then, in the last minute of the period, a seemingly innocent dump handcuffed Stetcher, who turned it over to Verhaeghe, who found Lundell in the slot to fire it in and make it 3-0. It was starting to feel a lot like last game and a lot like this series was over. Because if the Panthers went up 3-1 in the series, there was no way they were letting that opportunity slip away again after they nearly did last year. The Oilers needed to change something, and they needed to do it quickly. And they did. They came out of the second period flying. Skinner had a breakaway here, and that's Jeff Skinner, not Stuart Skinner, because Stuart was on the bench. After letting up 3 goals on 17 shots in the first, Knoblauch decided it was time to bring Pickard in. Back-to-back games, Skinner's been pulled, and now he's probably done for the playoffs. I don't see him getting another start. Before getting injured, Pickard was actually doing extremely well with Edmonton. He went 6-0 playing in games in the Kings series and the Vegas series, and funny enough, back in the LA series, Skinner lost 2 straight and Pickard came in to finish out the series and then win the next 2 against Vegas. Now, Skinner just got pulled after losing back-to-back games again, so maybe Edmonton gets the same sort of magic from their backup. And it seemed like that might be the case because early in the second period, they went to the power play and got an absolute snipe here from Nuge right under the bar.
Flips across, Nugent Hopkins, and is it in? Yes, and the Oilers are on the board.
Then, after dominating the next 10 minutes, they broke through again with yet another unreal snipe in the top part of the net, this time from Darnell Nurse.
Nurse shooting, scores! Darnell Nurse up high, and it's
definitely not what you were expecting him to do there, but you have to expect the unexpected, especially in this series. They're hyped up, it's 3-2, and all of a sudden, the Oilers are within 1 goal. Back on the power play soon after that, we almost got a little taste of McDavid magic here as he snatched Ekblad's ankles for the 2nd time this series, but was robbed here by Bob, who had been playing pretty well up to this point. Then, just 30 seconds after that rush by McDavid, Nurse sent a puck to the front of the net, and Podkolzin jumped on the loose puck to tie this one up.
Nurse trying to center it in front of back, scores! The game is tied!
A pretty insane turnaround from where we were at the start of the period, but now we have an entirely different game heading into the 3rd period. Bob was playing great, keeping everything out, but with 6 minutes left, it was the Oilers who broke the deadlock with this missile from Wallman.
Here's a chance, scores! Jake Woban!
The bobbling puck went short side on Bobrovsky, and the Oilers were up 1 with just 6 minutes left. The clock was winding down, Florida had their net empty, and it looked like we were going back to Edmonton with a tied series. But with 20 seconds left in the game, Tkachuk bobbled a puck in a prime scoring area, but luckily it went right to Reinhart, who put it in. Game tied, and it really felt like the sky was falling for the Oilers. OT started, and this one was almost over early because how did this not go in? Then Sam Bennett, the leading goal scorer in the playoffs, gets a great look here, but Pickard gets a glove on it. And watching this live, I honestly thought this went in, but Pickard got a glove and kept it out. Then with 9 minutes left, Matthias Ekholm fired a stretch pass all the way up the ice. It was tipped across the zone and landed right on the stick of the guy you don't want to see with the puck in overtime, Leon Draisaitl. He shoveled the puck towards the net with one hand, it deflected off Mikkola, and somehow it found its way in.
Scores! Leon Draisaitl's won it in Game 4 for the Oilers.
You have to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good, and that was the perfect example of it as Draisaitl scored his 4th overtime winner of the playoffs, setting a new NHL record and snatching victory from the hands of defeat to tie the series up for Edmonton. The Oilers, they had every excuse to fold this game. They were down 3-0 after one period. History wasn't just against them, it was undefeated. No team had ever come back from a 3-goal first period deficit in Stanley Cup Final history. But Edmonton, they don't care. They refuse to be the next name on that list, and after a brutal start and yet another goaltending change, the Oilers completely flipped the script. They found their legs, they found their fight, and clawed their way back into this game that felt like it was over after 15 minutes. Shift by shift, they chipped away at Florida's lead until the score was tied, and suddenly, the building was quiet. Even when the Panthers forced overtime in the dying seconds, Edmonton, they didn't flinch. They held strong, they waited for their moment, and when it came, they didn't miss it. It was gritty, it was chaotic, and maybe just a little bit lucky, but it was everything this team needed. The Oilers didn't just tie this series, they shocked the Panthers, rewrote history, and proved they're still very much alive. And a big reason for that was Calvin Pickard. He was thrown into the fire after a rough outing from Skinner yet again, and the veteran backup stepped in and brought calm to the chaos. He didn't need to steal the game, he just needed to stabilize it, and that's exactly what he did. Pickard's composure seemed to settle the entire bench, and the Oilers suddenly had belief again. With every save, the energy shifted. Florida stopped looking invincible. Edmonton stopped playing scared, and from that moment on, everything changed. But he wasn't the only hero. When it came time to finish the job, it was Leon Draisaitl who made that play to win the game. He didn't need a flashy move or a perfect shot, just a simple puck shove that bounced off a defender and found its way in. It wasn't pretty, but it was perfect. That goal gave him his 4th overtime winner of the playoffs, the most ever in NHL history. Just another reminder of how clutch Draisaitl has been when it matters most. Expect a physical, fast-paced battle with no room for mistakes in Game 5. Both teams will be desperate to control the game's tempo and force the other into errors. The winner of Game 5 won't just get an advantage, they'll be one step closer to hoisting Lord Stanley. This is the kind of game legends are made in. Whoever comes out on top will be one win away from glory, and the other one's season will be on the brink of collapse. Get ready for a battle that could decide everything.